welcome to Flannel Acres. This is going to be a two-part video on making dandelion wine. Now it's going to be two parts because there's some preparation involved, some things that we have to do, and then after things are kind of almost done, there's like a 6-month wait. So hopefully 6 months from now, right around Thanksgiving time, we'll do the part 2 and you can see us tasting the dandelion wine. Now, I've never had dandelion wine before. My husband has several years ago, and he said he really liked it, and he hasn't had it since. So when I found a recipe, I thought, well, I've got to try that and see what it's like. The recipe I'm using is from the Backyard Homestead by Carleen Madigan. This has a lot of great information in it about gardening and keeping animals, and dandelion wine, among other things, cheese making, things like that. A really great book to have on hand. So we're going to use that recipe, and there's some preparation that we got to do. First thing you want to do though is pick dandelions, a whole mess of them. I used a big bowl. Let me see if I can get that here. Okay, this is the bowl that I used to pick the dandelions, and I filled it. You want to go out somewhere where obviously there are a lot of dandelions, but you want to go somewhere where the grass isn't treated and they don't treat to get rid of the dandelions or with any other chemicals. So look for a place like that. If you need to go to somebody's yard or property to pick, make sure you get permission, obviously. Once you have the dandelions all picked, you want to snip the green backs off from them. If you have the green part on there, it inhibits the fermentation. So here's a picture of me clipping the dandelion blossoms. After I clip them, I put the yellow parts into a big measuring cup, and you want 3 quarts of those. So don't measure it until you've snipped the green parts off. After that, you want to bring a gallon of water to a boil, and after that comes to a boil, pour that boiling water over the blossoms. And you want to do this in a large container. I used the large crock container that I used to make the super tonic, and I think that holds about 2 gallons. So if you have a crock on hand or some kind of a large container that can hold all of that, just use that. That has to sit for 3 days like that. So just let it sit out on a countertop or on your table and just let it steep for 3 days. This is what the mixture looks like after it has steeped for 3 days. That's just water and dandelion blossom pieces. The next thing you want to do is get 2 oranges and a lemon, and we're going to peel these. I'm getting mostly the zest from these. I don't think it's necessary to get that white part on there because we're looking for getting the flavor from the actual zest. Okay, next we want to juice the oranges and the lemon, and for that I'm going to use this beast here. This is a juicer that I picked up at a rummage sale. Kind of old, very heavy, but we're going to give it a shot. Okay, that's done. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That is our juice from 2 oranges and 1 lemon. We're just going to reserve that liquid for now, and we've got our peels here that we're going to use for something else. So let's get started on that. Okay, we're going to add our lemon and orange peel to the water and blossom mixture and heat it up. We're going to bring this to a boil. Okay, we got a good boil going, so we're going to shut the heat off. And we need to strain out the solids, and we're going to move that over here. I've got my glass crock here with a strainer on it, and 3 pounds of sugar in there. So what we want is the liquid from this to mix with the sugar in there. now we got all that in there. We need to stir this to dissolve that sugar in there. And it looks kind of blue on the bottom. That's just the coloring of the glass. It's kind of a bluish tint there on the bottom. So we'll get this all stirred up, and we need to let it cool before we do anything else. Alright, now that this is cooled down, we need to add the rest of the ingredients. We have the yeast, our orange and lemon juice, looks like I need a spatula for that, and our raisins. Okay, I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir. Alright, this needs to sit in the crock for anywhere between a couple days and a couple weeks. We'll check the fermentation as we go. Now when this ferments, it will kind of fizz and bubble in there. If you listen really close, it kind of sounds like a bottle of pop that you have sitting open. You'll be able to hear the fizzing in there. So we're going to check it and see how we are in a few days with it. We're supposed to cover it with a loose fitting lid. Now what I've done here is just put the crock lid back on it with some wax paper in between there. Now this isn't screwed on all the way, it's just a partial turn so this doesn't fall off. This is still loose enough that gases can escape from here. You don't ever want to seal this up tight because you may have something explode, and that wouldn't be cool. So we're just going to let it sit in there and check back in a few days. Okay, so we're back after several months of letting this mellow on the shelf. We made this in the spring, and it is now between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we figured Thanksgiving was about the right time to try this out, so we did at Thanksgiving dinner, and it was very good. I was actually quite surprised at how well this turned out. I prefer a wine that is sweet and maybe fruity. I don't really care for dry wines or red wines usually, so this is a perfect result in my opinion. A professional may have different words of describing it, but I say it tastes good, so that's good enough for me. But yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out. It looks pretty in the bottle. You probably can't see from that shot, but I'll show a different one later in the video. It's got a really nice golden color to it, almost an amber color, and it came out really clear. I don't see any cloudiness in it at all, which is surprising. I thought if I didn't buy all the expensive winemaking equipment that maybe it would turn out bad or turn out cloudy, but it came out great. So if you have a recipe that you're using for homemade wine that doesn't require a bunch of fancy or expensive equipment, I'd like to hear about that. I think that we can do these things without having to spend a ton of money. So anyway, I'm going to just wrap this up by saying Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, and share what you're doing with this kind of stuff. I like to hear about that and learn from other people too. So I'll catch you guys later. See ya.